Hi guys, it's Kelly here. I'm just showing you what I'm going to be using for this next card in this video. I'm using my favorite things, wildflowers, and Tombows. I'm using a water bottle, and I'm also using my favorite things, Itsy Bitsy background, Itsy Bitsy polka dot for the background. And there's my trusty little water bottle, and that's it. And let's get going. Okay, so I have it in fast forward because it's pretty boring. I'm just basically setting up the stamps. Oh, I'm using Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm just, lining them up. I didn't want to cut this out of the video because, I don't know. I didn't know if anybody would really want to see that or not, and I zoomed in a little bit because I want to show you how I'm going to be watercoloring. Anyway, so I'm using antique linen and I'm stamping my images. Antique linen distress ink, and I'm stamping my images and I'm just putting them down on the Bristol, and I'm kind of turning it in the light to see if I can see it enough. It should be light enough where you won't see it, but dark enough so you can see it, if that makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, I think I got enough here. And I'm like, all right, now I just had a couple more leaves I had to stamp on the bottom. They're a little bit cut off there. I apologize for that, but they're just a couple leaves. Again, sometimes when I watercolor images like these, I don't know if I'm going to use them all, but I paint them all and I pick out what I want. In this case, there was a few I didn't use. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to slow it down in a minute once I start watercoloring. But for now, I just kept it in fast forward because, otherwise we'll be here all day. Anyway, so yeah, I have my little water bottle there. Now, to my left, first of all, I also want to apologize for my Band-Aid. I had stabbed myself with my fussy cutting scissors pretty bad. It was a nice stab. The point went right into my thumb, and yeah, it wasn't good. I know this is a little off-center, but I'm going to spin the paper and you'll see better watercoloring. Yeah. Anyway, what I do is, off to the left I have a white laminated sheet, and I just put drops of water on it. I don't use a glass mat because when you drop water down on the glass mat, it spreads out like a puddle. I like the laminated sheet, excuse me, because it keeps the water droplet as a droplet. It stays in a nice little bubble. So I don't know why that does that. I guess the glass, it's smoother and it just spreads out, but I find the laminated sheet works great. Anyway, I have Tombow here in, I think it's 837. I think that's the number. It is, I should know this by heart. Yeah, 837. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding color, and I add water to the outside part of the petal where it would be the lightest. I put the water down, and then I just spread the water. I just touch the ink and draw it out to the outer part of the petal. The reason why I moved to a different color is because those two outer petals on the red, they were wet, and I didn't want to finish that petal and have them bleed into the other ones. So I just went on to something else to give that a moment to dry, and I'll go back to it. Yeah, see, I just had to give it, some images are easier to watercolor than others. This is the very first time I'm using this stamp set. I got this stamp set a while ago when I went on Kathy Racusin's coloring road trip to My Favorite Things. I went there, and it was my first time to the boutique, and it is fabulous. If you're in Florida, or if you're visiting Florida and you go to Orlando, which is a very popular area, Eustis, where My Favorite Things is not too far away. I think it might be half hour, 45 minutes from Orlando. It's worth going if you're a crafting fan, if you're a card lover, card maker like me, and if you're in Florida, definitely try to make it. Check the hours before you go. But it's a beautiful store, and off on to the side of the store they have where they teach classes and things like that. So I signed up for the class, and I was lucky to get in. I signed up for Saturday, but they sold out, and then they opened another day, and I was able to get in. Anyway, so when I was there, I knew I wanted this stamp set, the Wildflowers. I'm a big fan of flowers, flower cards. I just feel they're so diverse. They're not good for masculine cards, but, you know, this is predominantly a woman field. No offense to any dudes out there that may be listening, but it's primarily women, and we mostly send cards to our women friends and things like that. So I just prefer the flower cards. I'm not a girly girl. I'm kind of a tomboy, but for some reason I just really like flower cards. I like painting them. I like creating with them. I like coloring them. I like watercoloring them. I love them. Okay, anyway, moving on back to this card. I'm just moving on. The next color I'm using, I listed them in the beginning, but this color is 026. I use these colors a lot, and I noticed my little nib is getting a little bit, not mushy, but the little tip isn't as firm as it used to be. So I might have to get replacements on these eventually, because I use these colors a lot. They go very well together. I used them on a Simon Says stamp card I made recently with the center heart. And I also used it on a two other watercolor cards I made, and those are posted on Instagram. But anyway, these colors they're very earthy. They go very, very well together. I like the bright colors too, but I found this color combination. I've been kind of sticking with it. It hasn't failed me. So anyway, going on here next, I'm going on to this, I think it's blue. What color am I using here? Yeah, blue. This color is number 528. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's purple. I apologize. It is 679. Excuse me. Sorry about that. It's 679. And again, I'm just laying color down on the inside of the petal, and I'm working on every opposite petal. And this one was easier to watercolor because when the petals are kind of spread out, it makes it a little easier. Like the other two flowers, the red and the yellow one there, especially that red one has a blobby look to it. Again, I'm very new to watercoloring. This is all new. I've only done it maybe no line watercoloring anyway. I've only made like 3 other cards, so this is like my 4th time doing it. I'm very, very new to it. There are some people on Instagram that I follow that just blow my mind. One woman, her name on Instagram is A Country Home. Her name is Maria Peters. I mean, she's just fabulous. I mean, yeah. Are you bored yet? I'm going to speed it up now, guys. She's just fabulous. She really is very, very good at no-line watercoloring. She's my inspiration. I aspire to be at her level at some point. And I asked her about it. She says it's just practice, just practice. So, anyway, yeah. I know this is getting a little redundant, and I apologize, my friends. But I'm going to spin the paper again, and it will be closer up. Just bear with me one moment here. I'm just making the, there we go. I'm making the stem. The leaves are very easy to do. You just lay the color down on the bottom. Alright, this font should be disappearing any minute now. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I lay the green down, and I just drag the water up with the water brush. I use a Tim Holtz fine detailer water brush. I have 2. I always try to have a backup because if something goes wrong with it or whatever, I just don't want to be without, especially something that I use all the time. And this one I kind of tend to use all the time. I never squeeze water out of it. There's water in it, but I never use it. I just use my water from my droplet, and then I just squeeze it out. And I'm sorry, I just take my brush and clean it in my little water droplet and wipe it and go on to the next color. So I don't have to have cups of water I know me, I will knock it over and I will make a mess. So for me, this is a heck of a lot easier. Just using the Tombows, or RTs are great for this too. And a water brush, little droplets of water, and that seems to work for me. Okay, now I'm on to the blue. This blue is number 528. Again, it goes very nicely with these colors. And this flower, I was pretty happy the way it came out. I like the purple flower and I like the blue. The red, it's kind of blobby. It didn't come out that good. And the yellow one is okay. But basically, I'm a lefty, so my light source, I tend to go to the top left. That's just natural for me. I notice a lot of right-hand people, their light source is in the top right. I wasn't sure the layout of this card. At this point, when I was making the card, I had no idea what I was going to make. I really never know what I'm going to make. I just watercolor, or I just go and hope for the best. I don't know what I'm doing ahead of time. So I knew I wanted to use these images. I just didn't know in what way. All right, now I'm speeding it up here again. This is a pink flower. This color is 817. Right? Is that right? Or is it? Yeah, 817. And this one, I noticed for some reason it doesn't move as much as the others. I know that sounds weird. I don't know if it's because it's a lighter color, but so I brought a lot more color towards the end of the petal than with the others. The others I just kept it on the inside and bled it out. But this one, it didn't move as much. I don't know, it's very strange. So and what I did was I kind of stippled it to give it that little organic water look to it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm almost done with this guy. But that red one is pretty blobby. Not very happy with it. In the end, I don't think I use it. Did I use it? Let me look. Actually, yes, I did use it, but I kind of camouflaged it with the other flowers. I put the flowers I like more in the forefront. And again, with no line watercoloring, I'm a control freak, just don't control it. You know, just try to, the less water, the less movement, you know. If, like with this guy, I didn't add water to my brush. I just kind of kept it a little damp because the little areas were so small. This is a kind of, I don't know if it's a branch or a leaf. I don't really know what it is, but I just painted it green in the and that green is number 177 that I'm using right now. And I'm just lining the color. These are like little circles, like little circle on a branch, and I just put a little green down, and then I use the water to make the other, fill it in, and just kind of make it lighter. Alright, we're almost done here. And again, forgive my hands, they're horrible. I always hated my hands. They always have ink on them. I have a band-aid at least on one finger at some point. I'm always hurting myself. But yeah, I used to get my nails done, and my hands look so much nicer. But that was back in the day when, you know, I had $100 a month to spend on my nails. Those days are gone. Being a mom and crafting, you know, I just don't have the money for that. And the commitment. I just don't want to go sit there for an hour every 2 weeks. I just don't. It's just not me. I'd rather craft. Okay, so now I'm doing the extra leaves. I didn't wind up using this piece, but I did use another one that's very similar to this. Yeah. This one's, yeah. Okay. Okay, continuing on here, I just finished up this leaf. And, you know, I was checking my brush because sometimes when I put the cap on, if I'm not paying attention, the cap will grab a bristle and it'll bend it. And then what I do is, you can never get it straight again, so what I do is I just trim them off, those little bristles that are sticking out, and it looked like, I don't know, like a bristle or a hair was on my brush, so I was just checking that. Anyway, moving on to the last leaf here. Is it a leaf? Let me see. What is it that I'm working on here? Oh yeah, the last cluster of leaves. Again, it's just repeating the same process. It's just, you know, adding the water and then blending it out. It's very simple. Again, I only chose, out of the card that I'm making, I only chose a few of these images, and whatever images I saved, I just wound up just using a few, the ones I like most. And these little leaves are great because they're good to fill in empty spaces or cover up, you know, a part of something if you don't like the way a certain area looks on a flower. You could just camouflage it with these guys here. And that's basically it. I'm finishing up these three, and then I'm moving on to assembling the card. But, you know, again, I didn't know what the card was going to look like. I knew I wanted to use it, you know, my favorite things, Wildflowers. It was a new set, never used it before, but I knew I wanted to use it, but I didn't know how, you know, I didn't have an image in my head of what the card was going to look like. I really never get that. I wish I did. I usually just kind of go with it and hope for the best. And, you know, I tend to like to make flower cards mostly because that's just what I enjoy. And I'm kind of a tomboy, but I do enjoy painting flowers, you know, with watercolors, with Copics, with colored pencils, whatever the medium, you know. Funny little backstory. When I first started card making, which was about a year and a half ago, maybe, it was definitely under 2 years, definitely. Because when I first started card making, I was getting like these card kits from Anna Griffin, from HSN, and those are pretty much like all made by her. You just assemble them. And I liked that at first, but then I discovered stamping, and I was like, you know, and that just opened up a whole new world. And at first I didn't think I would like stamping, but turns out, yeah, I wound up loving it. Anyway, when I would hear videos or watch videos and I would hear people say medium, I was like, I don't understand what that means. What do you mean, size? Like small, medium, large? You know, I didn't know what it meant. I even Googled it. I'm like, what does medium mean? And they were like, it kept giving me like size and explaining, you know, measurements. But finally, I was realizing that what people were referring to when they say, what is medium of your choice, or, you know, they meant like markers, paint, watercolors, pencils, that type of thing. I'm a dingbat. But anyway, yeah, so that goes to show you, you know, you never know, you know. Anyway, okay, so finishing up here, I'm going to die. All right, I finished up watercoloring, and I went ahead and die cut these images. Now, I didn't record me trying to figure out the layout because it took me a good 20 minutes moving flowers around. Which ones do I want? Where do I want the leaves? How do I want that? Blah, blah, blah. So I just spared you the agony of watching that. What I did was, excuse me, I die cut Beautiful out of 110-pound cardstock. And I die cut the vellum shadow. And I glued those together using multimedia matte, which I'm going to show you in a minute how I use that. Anyway, the Beautiful's from Hello Beautiful set by My Favorite Things as well. I'm letting that dry, and you saw me earlier. I took a Tombow marker and I edged the label. The Friends Like You Make the World, that part, that sentiment, I just put a little color on it. Now here I'm going to show you how I do multimedia matte. That was bought over a year ago and opened. What I do is I take the syringe, I draw it up, and then I insert it into this little bottle, which is a fine tip. it has lasted me so long. It's like 3.8 ounces. Now that bottle I bought before I bought the tub, and I don't use it because I use my refillable bottle. However, it is the bottle that it comes in, the little original bottle, has a wider opening, so it's good if you need to put a lot of glue on. But my little fine tip, you know, even you'll see, I'll use it right about now to put on, use it to adhere it down to my card base. So I really kind of use it for everything. Now I grabbed my favorite things, diagonal stripes paper pack, and I just put a little piece on the left side there just to bring a little more interest to the background there. I didn't like the up and down stripes, so I grabbed the diagonal stripes. The pack has both, has up and down vertical stripes and diagonal stripes. I love this paper. I salvage every little scrap I can because it's such a classy look, you know. I love florals with black and white. So I just put a little piece on the back there, and then I trimmed it off so it was flush with my card base. And then, yeah, once that was done, you're gonna see where I put the multi-medium back on the back of the card base. Yeah, I'm just lining it up. And see, yeah, I mean, it's a fine tip, but it works fine. You know, it's not like the fine tip has to be geared just for fine detailing. I mean, as you see, it came out perfectly for that. Okay, now moving on to the gems. I love my crystal katana. I swear by this thing. I love it. And I have my little gems here. I bought these at Michael's, and I picked out the ones without the bubble in them. A lot of times these little gems have little air bubbles. I went through this bag. They were like $8.99 for the bag, and I had a 40% off coupon, so I got hundreds of them. And I just went through and isolated the perfect ones that are completely clear, and I put them in a little gem container. Now I'm using glossy accents with a fine tip, and I put the gem down. I pick it up with the katana, and I use that as glue. It goes, you see, it's a little cloudy, but it dries clear. And then I use Nouveau drops in Morning Dew. Oh wait, no, I didn't use that yet. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I use Nouveau Aqua Shimmer Pen, and I put a little shimmer on the word beautiful, just to give it a little more shine. And then I also added a little bit of the shimmer pen to the flowers as well. But I just noticed a part of the word beautiful was like sticking up, like I didn't glue it, or I didn't press down good enough. So I grabbed my reverse tweezers and I just kind of put the glue in there, and then I love these tweezers. I use them for everything. And I just pinched it shut while it dries. Now, when you use any type of shimmer pen on watercolor, just be careful, or distress inks or things like that, it reactivates it. So before you switch colors, just make sure you wipe it off on a paper towel or something so you don't cross-contaminate colors. Now here I'm using my Nouveau drops. It's called Morning Dew. They're clear, and since the smaller drops I have, the 4mm, they have little air bubbles in them, so I use these instead. So it's like little matching little drops matches the other ones. Anyway, I tap it on my hand just to round out the Nouveau drops, and so they have a nice round finish. Then I added a little bit of glossy accents here to the center of my flower. That's just to give it a little more shine and interest, and it just makes it look prettier. And that finishes up the card, guys. And I'm sorry about the shadows. Sorry. I'm still learning. I just want to thank you all for coming by and watching my video, and the quality will get better, I promise. Thank you.